don't be running Twitch
Oh
while we're
yeah,
doing
yeah.
this. Yeah, turn off Twitch. Turn off. Oh,
Turn all the
thanks,
goodies
Josh.
off.
Yeah, turn all the streamy things off because they use bandwidth. I turned off drop-offs and things.
All the
So
things these
let me.
kids do these days.
Yeah, I'll start by toasting. What are you drinking? I'm drinking
Cheers.
coffee.
Spindrift.
Cheers, Josh. Good to see you.
Cheers.
Thanks,
Yeah,
buddy.
good to see you too.
So we're going to talk about new features in 4.1 because there's some good ones. There's some really good stuff in here.
Mhm.
And we've got this project open. This is like an office building style project. It's got some good context as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got, let's see, we're going to talk about Impact,
Mhm.
the enhancer tool, the AI enhancer tool that upsamples people and plants, the artistic modes. What's the artistic modes? Pencil, watercolor,
And then pen.
pen, shadows, no shadows. Yeah, it's cool.
Yep. Hatch
And
pattern,
then,
shadows.
yeah, the hatch patterns. Yeah, that's right. And yeah, and some pros and cons of when you might use them, still image versus moving around and why. And then we'll talk about colored shadows, which I can't figure out a better name. It's like, it is a shadow. It's where the light goes through something.
Yeah.
It's
and then
not,
like whatever the light is, whatever color the light is passing through is that color is showing.
that's a shadow.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's just a colored shadow. So we'll
Yeah.
talk about these four things. So let's talk about Impact first. And you want to zoom out in Revit and just give context because it's a fairly complex project. And we were testing this yesterday.
Mhm.
And in order to speed up I think there's two things, just speeding up the processing. And I'm going to cough. Let me hold on. Sorry. In order to speed up the processing and maybe to give a narrative of an earlier design process. Where you wouldn't start doing energy analysis this late in the development. Like this is really complete. Just if you would, let's go into Revit, turn off a bunch of stuff, and then turn on the core things. And what we found yesterday is, walls, floors, roofs, ceilings, stairs. But surprisingly, there were some other categories.
Yeah, so here we can go by, doors.
Oh, yeah. Doors. Turning on doors was important. It gave us, because we did the energy analysis with everything turned on, and then went back and turned on certain categories to see how close we were. What do you actually need? Because it seemed to go faster with fewer categories turned on, which is, again, indicative of having an early schematic or design development, but not, late development like the model. So what are you turning on here?
So we're turning on walls, windows. We'll have roof, road, and then we'll have floors, doors, and all the curtain panel systems and mullions.
Ceilings? Oh, yeah, all the curtain system.
Yep, and ceiling's a good one, yeah. All right,
okay.
So we'll turn all that on. Real quick. Cool. Then we'll just, obviously wait for Enscape to catch up and just display, whatever we're showing.
Yeah, so we kind of simplified the context a little bit. And when we tested this yesterday, it was within a percentage or so of what we were getting as an energy analysis. So go ahead and open up Impact. And where's that button at?
So that's this button inside of Enscape here. It's a little.
So it's in the Enscape window.
Yep. It looks like the site context too, but with like a little lightning bolt on it. And
the energy lightning bolt.
Yep, the energy lightning bolt. And what you're going to do is you're going to go to settings, and then you're going to answer a couple questions right away. So by default, it should take the location of the project from the Revit settings.
Okay. You can deviate from that if you want, but it's taking the Revit information. Okay.
Yep. And also one thing is this tool works with all the different design applications we support. Revit, Rhino, SketchUp.
So SketchUp, ArchiCAD, Vectorworks.
Yep, Rhino. Exactly. They just going to answer a couple questions like we were talking about. It's a building type, what kind of building, and, what should we say?
Got? Single family, multifamily, office,
school, university,
institutional, school. Yeah.
What should we say?
Okay.
Kind of a mixed use one.
Yeah, mixed use. We'll put some retail. We'll presume there's some coffee shops or something.
Yeah. So we'll say like an office or something.
And this is not high end energy analysis. I mean, we partnered with IES to do this. Yep. It's not 9 nines of accuracy, and you're not going to see a long spreadsheet of data, but it's something meant for the designers to get on an authentic vector with regard to energy use calculation.
Exactly.
Okay, so
and then you
build
can see
here.
Yep, you can see the 3 dots or the 3 little. Might be a little small on my screen, but there's 3 little asterisks. So those are 3 questions that you have to answer. So what year was this thing built? So let's say we'll go back in time and we'll say 2000.
Okay.
Yep. And what it's going to do is it's going to process the data. So it's going to look inside of the host design application, look for anything that's basically like closed off.
So it's looking at interior to exterior and then singular interior spaces.
Yep, exactly. So it's going to take into account the windows, all the walls, the rooms as well. And then once this is done processing, you're going to switch over to the dashboard here, and that's going to show you a graph, a couple different graphs.
Okay. So of energy use and energy type.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. So now we're going to hop over to the dashboard so you can see your results.
Yep.
So now once you're in your dashboard, you can see it's broken out by a couple different categories. So peak loads, total carbon emission, energy usage, and then energy end use.
So that's an annual estimation of energy use by type.
Yep. So then you can
what's the yellow value?
So this yellow value right here is lighting.
Okay.
So
it's saying most of the energy use is lighting and cooling.
And equipment.
Oh, lighting and equipment. Thank you.
Yep. And then orange is space heating. This lighter blue is cooling, and red is hot water.
Okay.
Works out a nice, cool little detailed pie graph. So 36% of the energy end use is coming from lighting.
Well, it's concurrent to an office building. It's
yeah.
Okay, so go back over to the settings and turn on that heat map.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Give us a visual sense of what's going on here.
Yep.
This is your.
So right now this is going to be with peak loads, and now when we move around,
and this is navigable.
Yep, this is navigable for sure. So now you can see when you rotate around the model, you're getting a good idea of where all of that space is coming from. And then you can see down here too, the peak load scale. And you can toggle between the different ones. So cooling energy, heating energy as well, solar gains. And again,
very cool.
Yeah. Again, when we're rotating around the model, we can see any of those changes. Or we can see, we get a good visual representation of where all of this is coming from.
Anything else in there?
Also, anytime you make a change to it, it's going to rerun the calculation.
Okay, so maybe you don't have it on live all the time while you're designing, but you pick cardinal moments.
Yep, exactly.
In the design process.
Yep.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Again, like we were talking about, great for early stage designs, just getting a good idea of what this is going to look like, good benchmark across what it should be. So.
Yeah, and it flows into a more expensive tool with that engineers would use. So the intent is that the design information is contiguous. It's great.
Exactly.
Anything else on this one? I mean, that's a good overview. Do you have anything else that you think we should mention?
I think that's good.
All right.
We got a good white paper that we wrote up. It's on our article that we can post a link to, where we kind of go into more detail about why we started going down this route.
Oh yeah, send me that link and I'll make sure it goes into the description field.
Mm-hmm. That kind of talks a little bit too about IES, and kind of like why this partnership came to be and everything like that. So really good white paper on it.
All right. Talk about AI, the new AI enhancing tool.
Sure, I'm talking about AI.
So this is for the AI enhancer focuses on people and landscape objects.
Yep.
And I think part of the idea behind it is you can't. The people that are scanned are great for context when you're moving around, but when you render, your scene's in focus, but it appears as if people aren't, and there's a little bit of lack of detail. So you could do this in Photoshop. Good luck. You take a week to try to replace or add people to a scene so that they're not distracting and they look realistic and lifelike. But the AI enhancing tool has been built to take that information and just upsample it.
Exactly.
With one button.
Yeah.
So do you want to? Let's frame that. Maybe move in to someone so that their facial features are a little more obvious or a little closer. And then, are there any settings? Do you have to use a text prompt or anything like this with the AI upsampler, or do you just click?
Nope. You just simply click. There is one thing to know though, that
good.
It in the output tab, it cannot go higher than full HD. Because what it's going to do is it's going to upsample it to 4K anyway. So if it's an Ultra HD, it won't complete. So it has to be a full HD image.
Okay.
So now,
so which button?
Yep. It's
There
this
you go.
little magic wand looking button right here.
Yep.
So all you're going to do is click that button, tell it where you want to save, and simply click save. Now, this could take anywhere from a couple minutes, like about 30 seconds to anywhere to 5 minutes. But
And
again,
is that because of the number of people or the plants, or what is it?
no, that's just for it doing all the crunching in the
Okay.
background. So there we go. So that finished.
There we go. Okay. Now, can you do let's do a screenshot. So we'll have a kind of a before and after if you had the upsampling. If you didn't, we'll zoom into each image and have a look at what you get.
So there's the screenshot that we're generating, the screenshot rendering.
Yes.
There we go.
So obviously, this is going to go much faster because it's just rendering what's in the scene, which is sufficient for the majority of your use case. But when you've got, when you're trying to get to that next level of detail and you don't want to spend 40 hours upsampling people's faces so that they look realistic, or just rendering without people and then trying to composite them in a photo editing tool.
Exactly.
You think, oh, it takes 5 minutes. Yeah, it takes 5 minutes and not 5 days. So there you go. So which one is this?
So this is the still rendering, and this is the enhanced version. So we can see what it did to. So here we'll side by side these, and we'll just zoom in on this gentleman here.
Yep. Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Magic.
Yeah.
That's why it's a magic wand.
That's why it's a magic wand tool. So we could putting the face aside, you can see what it does to the details.
Yeah, even the clothing around where the clothing is bound because he's kind of turning and walking.
Exactly.
Like the detail in the sleeves.
Yep, and the detail in the shoes too, and his hands.
Yep.
So, yeah, like you said, even just the detail in the clothes.
Good.
The face turned out really nice too, and you can see the detail with his hair and everything too. So just subtle enough details to really make it pop. And then
it's fantastic. Like the detail in the elbow of the shirt and how it's crinkled. Great. That's hard to sketch. So,
exactly, or to go into Photoshop and add in those details too. That's
Nope, fantastic, beautiful.
Yep. And then if we go,
it's only going to get better. That's
exactly.
Fantastic.
Yep, only going to get better. And then we can see with the vegetation.
Yep.
What that did. That kind of brought some more things to life, especially down here for what it's doing. So just the subtle details in the little
and there seems to be some more subtle variation. So in addition to upsampling the plants, it's not like it's copy pasted across the bottom.
Right.
There's just
ever so much.
Yeah, the tips of those reeds or whatever those bushy plants are.
Exactly.
More variety. Okay, great.
And then we can look at
great.
I got some more examples too that we can look at. So just to show even more detail. So there's before and there's after.
Oh, this is nice.
So you can see still looks pretty good before, but then after you get a lot more detail.
Yeah, the lighting across the side of the face, the way it's coming through the foliage.
Yep. And and that's all from our colored shadows too. So after this, we can talk about our colored shadows.
Yeah.
So again, here's before, here's after. Notice what it's doing to down here on the grass. So.
Yeah, it's not just a constant carpet. There's that subtlety of.
Yeah. Just even the subtle little details you get.
Yeah.
And then here's before, and then after. So again,
perfect.
So again with the grass, before and then after.
Nice.
Just add subtle little variations to it. Even the gentleman over here, that's before and then after. You were talking about, just
the clothing is just
And
there's no other setting that you have to do. You don't have to have a text prompt. You don't have to a bunch of toggles. Yep. You're just, the only thing you can't do is upsample an image greater than 4K.
Right. Greater than 2K.
So 4K or less.
2K or less.
2K or less. Okay.
Yep.
Well, there you
and
go.
then it's going to upsample that to 4K. And then again for details.
Yeah, that's great. All right.
So,
You want to talk about visual styles?
Sure. We can talk about visual styles.
All right.
All right. So I'll get rid of these. Okay. So for visual styles, let's get a nice view here. Yeah, something like this. So under the visual settings tab.
Okay. So you're in the Enscape window. It's not something you get to from the contextual ribbon.
Yep. So
you're going to styles. Oh, good. Yep. So the menu floats as well. You can just go full screen and.
Yep. So I can go full screen, and it's under the main tab. So it's under styles, and here's where we got those different ones. So you'll see a brand new one, sketch mode. So this is going to turn everything in the scene into essentially like a sketch. Now you can
like a line drawing. Oh, the trees were kind of subtly moving.
Yep. So here we can see.
So you can navigate this live.
Yeah. And we can see it's moving.
This is really cool because if you wanted to do a manual wash over this, you could print it out in this state.
Exactly. Yep. Exactly. So now let's get a nice view here. So this looks pretty good. Now let's play with some of the settings.
Yeah. What are these options and settings for outlines? You've got it on normal.
Yep. So right away for none, obviously you're going to see no outlines. For thin, it's going to be super thin layers or super thin lines. Just from
so the color of the line is the same. It's just very thin. And the reason some areas seem darker is just because there's more lines.
Exactly. And one thing to note too is down here, we have it set to pen.
Okay.
So we can, click normal and then thick. So we can adjust like how thick those outlines are going to be. So we can see it's giving it a lot more thicker lines. I'm thinking I like normal. And then for jitter, this is where we can see it's not really such a straight line anymore. Gives it kind of
a little more gestural.
Yeah, exactly. And you can adjust these too to whatever the style is that you're going for.
Okay.
And then for extended outlines, this is going to control, exactly what we can see is it's going to do even more extended lines. So that's on the top of the corners and things like that. So you can adjust how you want all these how much you want.
And this is all still navigable.
Yep. So here we can, we can zoom in closer as well. All like this. And now what we were talking about yesterday with the hatch shadows.
Okay.
So now this is where all your shadows are going to be. And also when I'm changing the time of day.
Yep.
So we can see what that's doing for all the shadows. So we can see here's what it'll do for a nighttime shot for the shadows. So now when it
kind of cross hatches the sky.
Yep. So now when I go back to a more daytime scene, we can see obviously the sun is coming from this angle, so this whole side's going to be shaded. And then we can also, I had transparency glass toggled, so if I turn off that, it's going to just make everything that's glass.
Okay, it doesn't render it doesn't render beyond a translucent.
Exactly.
Yep. So with pen, we notice that the shading or the hatching is crosshatched with pen, whereas if you jump over to pencil,
so under the palette
does a single line.
Yep, is where you get pencil.
Okay.
So we can see what that hatching's doing as well. So here, let's get another good. There we go. And then again, when we're changing time of the day too, we can see.
And all the other settings, the jitter, the outline, the extended lines, they're all available from the pencil mode as well.
Yep, exactly. So this looks pretty cool for a nighttime shot.
Yeah. I think I like the horizontal lines for the sky better.
I think so too, yeah.
Yeah.
And then again, you can turn the transparency glass on so then you can actually see inside. And even on the vehicles too, you can see inside the vehicles.
You can see through the vehicles. Got it.
Yep, exactly.
And then what's the other setting? The watercolor?
This is so we also have
colored pencil. Okay.
Yeah. So under sketch, you'll have the three different options: pen, pencil, and colored pencil.
Yep.
So you can see what that's doing too. It's basically taking like some of the color from the albedo map or whatever, or the diffuse map inside of there. And this is where you can, again, use jitter. So get a really nice
extend lines. You can make the lines more gestural. Got it.
Exactly. And one really cool thing too is here while we're here, we could even do so this will work for videos as well. So if I go inside of our video editor here, and let's just say I want to do a nice kind of walking down the street video shot of this.
Yep.
So
just panning past.
Yep. So we'll hit the plus button to add a keyframe, and then we'll just navigate over, something like this. There we go.
Oh, just a start and finish keyframe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do something like that, and then I can toggle this down to say 20 seconds, and then all I got to do is simply hit the preview button, and we're getting a nice preview of what that's going to look like.
Yeah,
so it's pretty cool to be able to do this, and see a colored pencil rendering of it,
and to be able to do it live in the same tool.
Exactly.
Not have to jump to another application that is built for a wizard.
Yep.
This is a tool for common people. It's great.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay.
So that's really cool. And then let's check out those other options. So if we go back to
we've done pencil, pen, or pen, pencil, and colored pencil.
Yep.
And what's the other option?
And then we have watercolor. So watercolor is really cool because you can, I personally like this one. This one's really cool in my opinion. So then you can change the color gradient as well. And again, with all of our tools, if you hover over what each tool does, it'll give a cool little tech tip on what it does.
Yeah.
So it affects the number of colors and hues as well. So if we go all the way down, we can see what that's doing.
So there's kind of a very light wash when that setting is low. And then if you increase it, there's more variation of color. Okay.
Exactly. And then, we can even see like up top here what that's doing. So if I turn all that down, that's just certain shades of green. But the minute I turn all that up, I'm getting even more definition in there.
Yeah. Yep.
And then with the bleeding effect, this is just going to kind of overlap some of the colors as well.
Where different colors meet?
Yep.
Okay.
So we can see down here too, it's kind of blending those two colors together, even up top here.
Right.
So got a lot of really cool options with these ones here. And also
you're just trying to give more of an impression of the design without, architects talk about, we don't want to do something so literal early in the design process. You want to designate form and space and function and give the essence of color.
Right.
Or indicate the color, but I don't need individual bricks at this point. I just want to see the color of brick.
Exactly. Yep. And another thing I really like too is, when you change it in time of the day, especially in watercolor mode.
Oh yeah.
Like you can see the colors of the clouds and everything.
Right. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Like that looks really cool. And since it is part of the visual settings tab, you can apply that to a different preset. So if you start to set up kind of a look and feel for your types of renderings, you can set these as a preset. So you can create custom preset, we'll call it, watercolor, click apply.
And then you can just return to it.
Yep.
Without having to remember all your settings.
Exactly. Yep. So now you can set up everything here too. You can set up the different camera settings and all this other stuff inside of here too, which will play an impact on all of this. And then again, like you said, you can assign this to different views. So then when you jump between views,
right, you can jump between a finished view, a more gestural view in pencil mode. Later on, it's into watercolor. Later on, it's into just full on rendered.
Exactly. Okay. Yep. Exactly. So those are our new different style modes, and again, those can be found under the style modes here.
Okay. So you want to talk about colored shadows?
Yeah, we're talking about colored shadows. I have them already set up in that other project, which is pretty cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is a part that, like we were talking about this yesterday. It's magic. It's getting better.
It's really cool. So here it's just loading up on my other screen over here. But
the thing is, it's so easy.
It is.
To get the effect of light creating a colored shadow, you'd have to, a few months ago, model geometry, give each little piece of whatever a color, a solid color that was translucent. You couldn't apply a material ultimately. If you had a material that you wanted to be influenced by the light coming through it, you would have to model the material as geometry.
Right. Exactly.
All right. Nice small project. Good.
Nice small project. Yep.
Okay. So one of the things you just mentioned was you have to have the RTX features turned on. So if they're not turned on, where would you get them?
So here, let's try exposure here. So if you don't have the
nice.
RTX features turned on, what you do is go to the
Yep.
General Settings tab, and then it's all under the hardware features.
Hardware features. So I know we're supporting lightweight laptops now with integrated GPUs. That's probably not going to work for this.
Probably not.
It's going to run Enscape, but it's not going to compute this kind of subtlety.
Exactly, because
Okay.
Dedicated GPU.
All right. Yep.
So.
And you have a 3080 series on your laptop?
Yep. So I have a 3080 series on this one.
All right. That's last gen. I mean, we're into the 4080s now, but this is fantastic.
Exactly.
Okay. So you've got materials, and as the lighting changes, you can see those materials. They appear translucent.
Yep. So here, let's go.
You're moving the sun around.
Yep. So here, I got a good. There we go. We'll jump to this view.
Okay.
There we go. Yeah. So here we can show what this one does.
I do like that you can grab the views from the design application.
Yeah.
And push them into Enscape.
Mm-hmm.
It just makes finding views so much easier.
Exactly. Yeah, it just makes everything so much easier doing that. There we go. So yeah, now we can see we're getting the colors of that glass material.
Oh yeah.
Coming inside.
Okay, so you got your RTX features turned on. You're
Yep.
moving the time of day, and when the view settles down, it's going to cast those colored shadows on
Yep.
anything that is in the see, that's magic.
Yeah, exactly.
So how do you get to this tool if you have a material that you want to be transparent? Because you would have spent hours modeling that with geometry, and then it would have changed in the design, and it would have been.
Yep. So what you do is you apply a material to the object, obviously inside of Revit, and then that will show up inside of.
So it needs to be a generic asset to show up inside the Enscape material editor. So you make a generic material and just apply it, but then you go to the Enscape material editor to get this to behave a certain way.
Yep. And then you click on the material, and then we have this new material. It's called glass. So it's a glass type. So all you have to do is simply click glass, and then for base texture, all you have to do is input the image that you want. So here's that image that we have on our glass materials there. And then from there, it's going to start showing, like the sun is going to start reflecting whatever glass or whatever image you have in the glass there.
And what are your settings there? You've got the image, you got image fade at 100%.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
The opacity is 0 because it's transparent.
Yep. And then
it's got a bit of refractive.
Mm-hmm. And then for the height map, we just have a simple bump map.
Yeah.
So then you're getting that kind of nice definition inside the glass, especially if we get up closer to it.
Yeah, if you've got the reveals around the LED.
So we can see what that's doing there. So we can see that bump. And then for the reflection map, we just have this map here.
These are Enscape materials. I mean, they come with these characteristics.
Yep, exactly.
Are there material? Is this material from the? So this material is from the Enscape library.
This one is not.
You could. Okay, so you've created this with the various bump maps and display maps.
What you can do, we could try this too. Are you familiar with the quick replace feature?
Show me.
So under the 3 dots, so this is where it gets kind of cool as well too. Like we were talking about, whatever I'm doing inside of this Enscape material editor is going to show back up inside of my Revit material.
Okay, so it's going the other way.
Yep, so it's bidirectional. So here, if I click on that material, here we go. So now I can see those same material maps that I had set up inside the Enscape material editor. They're all displaying under here. And now, again, bidirectionally, if I change something inside the Enscape material editor, it's going to update here, and vice versa. If I update something here, it's going to update over there.
Nice.
So now we can
do work in context. You can push things back. You can make a design decision in Enscape.
Yep.
Yeah, that should keep happening. That should happen with lots of other things, like pick a piece of furniture and swap it out. That'd be great.
Exactly. And with the Enscape materials themselves, if you just want to preview what some of them look like, let's say we want to look at frosted glass. If you click these 3 dots, you can hit replace with Enscape material. and that's going to launch the Enscape material library, let's say for glass. Now I can just start picking any material I want, and it's going to give me a preview.
You can see it in the preview.
Yeah.
So if you got your material by name set up in Revit,
yep,
you can tweak it and modify it, and it'll push it back to Revit from here.
And what's really powerful, one thing to keep note is, so say you have your naming convention set up. So I know everybody's big on their naming conventions, especially for materials. So you get all that set up inside of Revit, but you just want it to look a little bit better, right? All you got to do, pick the material that you want, and then click replace. And all that's going to do is simply replace the material maps. It's not going to mess with naming.
It's not going to change the name.
Exactly. Or if you have surface patterns set up on your materials, it's not going to mess with those at all either.
Right.
It's going to simply just adjust the material parameters.
Nice.
And then here you can change the color if you want to.
I mean, I like changing things in Revit, but sometimes you have to remember what's in Enscape, go back to Revit, make the change, see it updated in Enscape, as opposed to going, I just want to change it here. I'm here.
Exactly. Yep.
And it's just those three little dots. They're not that obvious, but if you hover over the material name, and it has to be a generic material.
Yep. So, yeah, so that's a quick replace feature. I love that feature because you can do it. It can be applied for many different things as well. And then, yeah, if you need to apply different textures to those different to different types of glass, all you have to do is simply just go to the base texture, assign the base color that you want. If you just want it to be a solid color, all you have to do is, tell the solid color.
Oh, without an image, you could just have a solid color.
Yep, exactly. So you can change it to whatever color you want.
That's a nice tip. I mean, it wasn't just the colored shadow that was also pushing material information back to Revit. So you could set up the base material and get it oriented and get it close enough, but then tweak the subtlety and context with the rendering.
Exactly.
That's great.
And then what's really cool also, if you get this material set up how you want and you want to use it later, simply click the three dots again and hit export material package. So that's going to export this as a matte package file. So an Enscape material, basically. You go to a new project, you go inside this Enscape material editor and go batch import. You import your material, and it's going to put that inside of Revit for you as well.
Would you put those in a project folder?
Yeah, you can do that.
Okay.
Yep.
So they're or in a company project folder.
Exactly.
So here's our vetted materials for design and later.
Yep. And all the material parameters are going to stay there as well too. So yeah, that's how you can start setting up your company library of Enscape ready materials.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, Josh, this is great. Well, there you go. We talked about the energy analysis tool, Enscape Impact. We talked about the AI enhancer, artistic modes, pen, pencil, color pencils, watercolor, and beautiful lighting. Colored glass. Colored shadows.
Colored shadows.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Have a great night. And
you too.
Keep in touch. All right.
Always.
Thank you so much, buddy.